Okay, let me know if y'all can hear me. I think my microphone is ready to depart. Okay, so welcome back to What She Said Sports. Happy Saturday. We're going into Sunday's game. I was discussing the weather is going to be a factor. It said it was going to rain anywhere from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 50% chance of rain. So that means it could rain or it might not rain. 21 per hour, 21 miles per hour wind, right? But in addition to the weather being a factor, I looked at the injury report and I pulled it up, and it's a lot of people on it. So we're gonna take a look. Now, there are some people, their status, they won't put whether they're playing or not. So it could be a strategy. I've said that before, like to keep the other team guessing. But a lot of the stars are injured. So between the weather, the stars, and the pressure. Now, I don't know who the pressure is truly on. I think the pressure might be on Miami's coach, and I think Kevin Stefanski is going to continue to get a pass. Now, even though you have fans all over the internet saying Stefanski should be fired, people still try to throw Barry in the conversation, but people like don't feel like that's going to solve the immediate problem. Barry likely should be fired going into next year, but a lot of things he's getting the blame for are really things Haslam has made the decision on. Like people always go back to Deshaun Watson and how the Browns secured Deshaun Watson and moved out what's his name, Baker Mayfield, but they didn't get all these wide receivers. I'm like, well, that's not on Barry, that's on Haslam. So the conversation has drifted back to Kevin Stefanski should be fired. I was watching a Miami podcast. They were pretty much saying that it's a high stakes game, meaning whoever loses the game is going to be fired. I have all of the feeling in the world with the way the Browns have tried to protect Stefanski. This game might, if y'all think the game is rigged, then it probably is going to be against McDaniel. We gonna see though, right? They don't have Tyreek Hill. He's out. They do have some good receivers that somebody tried to give away to Pittsburgh, but I don't know how much faith they have in their quarterback. Now, he was also listed on the injury list for Miami. However, it seems to me that he's also questionable, right? So there's a couple factors in this game that you can't manipulate. You can't manipulate the weather. The injuries you can manipulate who plays, who does not play. With a lot of the stars, question mark, I don't know, right? Myles Garrett and Joku, again, Boitano, he did do a full practice, a fully participate in practice, but it doesn't say, he's going to play. It's just like the ... So the weather, the injuries, and the pressure. I was like, well, 1+ for Shedeur to play tomorrow. The weather is bad. And I can see Stefanski going, you know what, just going to let Shedeur play. There are a lot of injuries to people who are impactful. So that's the weather and the injury stack against Stefanski if he played Dylan. But if he put in Shedeur and the weather's bad and nobody to throw to, Gage has a concussion, Jerry Jeudy got a knee issue, then there's no Myles Garrett on defense, then there's no Njoku on defense, then Boitano is resting again or whatever. It works against Shedeur. And can you blame Stefanski? Can you blame Stefanski if the elements, the injuries, and he plays Shedeur go in and they lose? No, I don't think you can. I think they're going to say, well, it's the weather. I mean, they could do that with Dylan too. But I think people feel like this is the game that Shedeur should get in, right? Now, I don't think so. And we talked about the What She Said sports community really feels like we don't want Shedeur to get caught up in this mess, right? Like today, they were throwing Jamarcus Russell under the bus. And I say, you know what? I'm going to look into Jamarcus Russell. I said, because y'all may have lied on him too. I said, because it's documented, that black quarterbacks have been devalued and discriminated against. I said, so rather than listen to y'all say the man was lazy, which is a stereotype, I'm going to look into the man. And the first thing I found out was he went to LSU. I was like, oh. And then, he was in SEC at the time. I was like, oh. So, or maybe they weren't in the SEC and they're in the SEC now. And they just didn't update it. But he went to LSU, and he came out number 1 overall. And I was like, put a pin in that. So on X, what you see is, fire Stefanski. Justin Fields isn't good, or maybe, this person isn't good. Today they dragging Carson Beck. Now the quarterback from Indiana is going to Cleveland. I'm like, oh, okay. So they're going to do this all season long. It's just all season long. Everybody going to Cleveland with the number 1 pick. They say now you got to push the Manning kid out the conversation. You got to push Carson Beck out the number 1 overall conversation. And now it's going to Indiana. I have never seen the number 1 quarterback go from Hoover to what's his name? Nussmeier. They don't even talk about him no more. Lenora Sellers. They talk about he hold on to the ball too long. It's just so many different things, right? To get their faves up to the front. And that's fine when fans do it. But it's a problem when the NFL does it. So this is the problem we have in Cleveland. Dylan is pushed up to the front. And the fans are frustrated. It's obvious some of the coaches are frustrated but can't say it. But what they can say is they support the leaders of the team, the players, sharing their frustration. So that means that the coaches, the players, and the fans have seen enough of Dylan, and they have had enough of losing. But if Shedeur get out here in the rain tomorrow and it don't work out, my question to y'all is, does it negate Stefanski's job and they can like, okay, we're going to fire you because we know Shedeur is good? Or are they just going to say, oh, it's the weather? I don't know. The weather could be something to work against Shedeur if he plays, or it could be something to save Stefanski. I don't really know. I think he could get a pass. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's expecting this game to be it, but if he play with Dylan and the weather's trash, I think he's just going to get a pass. But let's be honest, right? Isn't that just delaying the inevitable, even if Dylan plays in this game, if they win? Dylan plays in this game and the weather is bad and they get a pass. Is that just delaying the inevitable? Because how many games after this one is it going to take before they start losing? Like you might luck up and win this one, or the game might be rigged in your favor. But can you rig all of the games going forward? So you're going to be back to square one, whether you win this game or not with Dylan. That's it. That's just what I'm saying. So let's take a look at the injury report so y'all can see what I meant by the people that they had on it. Again, like I said, it could be, it very well could be, here it is right here, Cleveland Browns. It could be a strategy. That's what I was, getting at. It actually could be a strategy. Y'all let me know if y'all think it is. All right, this is the list, guys. All right, so starting at the top, you have Boitano, the guard. These are the people that were on the report, but then it tells you what the injury is. It says there's no injury. It's just related to rest or something like that. And then it showed you when and how they practiced, so, to what extent they practice. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Looks like a light practice, maybe limited practice, or fully participated, but the game status isn't listed. So I don't know. Maybe that means he plays. Maybe that means he doesn't play. I don't know. Then you have a defensive tackle in Collins. Then you have Conklin, who's a tackle. So that's 2 O-linemen right there. And then you have Myles Garrett. So that's 2 defensive players. That's 2 of your O-linemen. Then you have Mason Graham, his knee. Defensive tackle, Mike Hall Jr., defensive tackle, his knee. Shelby Harris, a defensive tackle, his knee. Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver, his knee. Gage Lavardian, wide receiver, concussion. Now, if Shedeur was to play and Gage is questionable and he might not play, I would hate that. I definitely want Shedeur to play when Gage could play. But then Jerry Jeudy's out. Cornelius Lucas, the tackle. So you see, they got 1, 2, 3 linemen. This is 3 O linemen. It's not like they have players filled up to number 4 on the depth chart for linemen, unless it happened overnight. They don't keep 4 places. They don't keep 1 first team, second team, third team, 4th team during a regular season of linemen on the offense. And then you got Njoku, his knee. And then you have Cam Robinson, offensive tackle, his knee. Joe Tyron, defensive end or edge, his hip, and Blake Whiteheart, tight end, his shoulder. So, that's a lot of people. This is Miami. Miami doesn't have nearly as many people. Look how many people Cleveland have out when compared to Miami. So you have Elijah Campbell. Now, a lot of these people could be questionable. You see how it says questionable, but they don't answer the question whether they're doubtful or if they're going to be out for sure. Again, this could be strategy, but this is a lot of people. So the team is banged up. So for Shedeur to play in Miami with the weather being bad, with the team being banged up, I don't know. I don't think this is a good week. But it is a good week to fire Stefanski. It is, because whether or not, the problem is going to be the same if they don't run the ball with Quinshon Judkins, if they let Dillon take 52 snaps again and then Miami wins, right? I don't know if the fan base will be happy if Dillon take 52 snaps and get 2 touchdowns, because I think they feel like long term, if the Browns are looking to get their franchise quarterback out the next round, then what is this season going to look like if Dillon can throw 52 times and not get a touchdown, or he can only throw 52 times and get a touchdown or 2 against one of the worst teams, Miami? Valid questions, right? Valid questions. That's what I mean by, is this just really like delaying the inevitable, regardless, win or lose, for Stefanski and Dillon Gabriel? Because if they talking about replacing Dillon anyway, why we just losing? Why not put Shedeur in, but not maybe this game? So they don't have as many people hurt in Miami. Again, this is just a report. They just have 2 questionable. One is actually listed as out. Tua's on here with his left thumb, but he fully participated in practice. So I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna play or not. It doesn't say he's questionable. It doesn't say he's out. I don't know. I just don't know. Y'all let me know what this means. And then you have Dante Trader and Cedric Wilson Sr. So I know we have a player from Colorado that was over to Miami, but he was on the practice squad. But with the injuries, he might get to play, Derek McClendon. So let me know your thoughts in the comments by the time I get over to the comments. Church announcements. Check this out. Hold on 1 second. So I've been a busy little bee, added to the collection for What She Says Sports. So I hope y'all like it and check it out. Again, you can use my code NOLA Girl. This is it's hoodie season. It's sweater weather. Run me my money on the back with 12 on the front. And as you can see right here, use my code NOLA Girl. So that's the church announcements. All right. So y'all know we out bye week. They said it was boring, no football, but Bucky is in Cleveland. So I haven't seen much of the Colorado guys. I'm sure they probably enjoyed their vacay. Had a picture of Coach Prime fishing. So not much going on with them except for like the behind the scenes. Like I think the cheerleader and one of the other guys, Darius, had posted about, the players storming the field. So that's entertainment if y'all haven't watched that. But for the first time, Bucky is in Cleveland that I could see for the first time. He flew there. He was on his page and he was on the field, the practice field. It looked like it was kind of like family day. There was this man with his kid wanted an autograph from Shedeur. Shedeur graciously signed the autograph. And I saw a bunch of other like women and family and sisters and brothers in the background. So Bucky came in, maybe it was family day. Now, I don't know if Bucky's filming tomorrow. If you heard him say that in his video, let me know, because this will be the first Cleveland game that he gets to film. Otherwise, he just came to go to the game to, chill out with his brother. And Shedeur was talking about what his shoes, like he writes on his shoes, like hope and prosperity and all of these things on his cleats. One thing I can say, right? Just looking at the small snippet that I did of Bucky at the practice facility with Shedeur, I think Shedeur is going to be in the NFL, despite what has transpired. And despite the fact that no, he hasn't played yet, I believe he has hope that he will. And I think he's happy, despite what has happened. Because, this was my dream all the way through. So even if I get this much of it, I still get to be in the environment. He still travels with the team. I made it from off the roster in the beginning where they say I wouldn't make the roster, made it all the way through camp, made the 53-man, moved up to QB2. So he's happy in his role. I could see it, right? He's not out there doing somersaults or anything like that, but his demeanor, the tone of his voice when he's talking to his brother, he's not complaining, he's not sad. Somebody came to kid, want him to sign a football, graciously signed it, went back to talking to Bucky. I believe he has hope that he'll get to QB1 despite the concerted effort to hold him back. Why? Because how many times they ask, well, he's going to make the roster? Look at how hard they try to keep him out the draft. Remember, he said he was growing his faith. So that's what's keeping him up, right? He can see the guy open the door for him. He can see that guy kept the door open for him despite them trying to close it with him doing exactly what they said they was going to do. Cut him with waiver wires, but they didn't do it. And we was having a conversation on X on why they draft to destroy these players. And somebody said that doesn't make sense. Why would they pay these guys millions of dollars and then destroy their careers? I said, so they don't go nowhere else or start their own league. And they were like, well, it isn't easy to start their own league. I'm like, that's what y'all keep saying. But again, another basketball league just popped up. What is it, like 4 or 5 basketball leagues for women now? Just because people take the initiative to put 2 or 4 teams together. That's what they want you to think. And it was like, if the league is 70% black, why should they start their own league? I'm like, because leadership is 90% white. See, people don't want to talk about the truth. Right? So it looks like, despite the fact that they either were messing with him, trying to humiliate him in front of everybody, discriminated against him and holding him back, he's still in the league. He has made it to QB2. And I asked this question, feel free to answer it. Under what circumstances does a 5th round QB play in place of a 3rd round QB? That's a real question. I would love to see your answers. Under what circumstances does a 5th round QB play in place of a 3rd round QB? That's a real question. I asked y'all, how did Tom Brady, who was a 6th round QB, y'all said, how did Tom Brady get his start? Y'all told me how Jalen Hurts got his start, right? It seems like Shedeur is not going to be able to play in place of Dylan, no matter how bad he is, as long as he can play. That's what it, when you look around the league and you look at how and why they bench people and how rigid they are and use the rounds in the draft they manipulate the rounds in the draft to pigeonhole you. So if I made you a 5th round pick, that's because I didn't want you to get to QB1. But Shedeur had one of the rare occurrences to compete for QB1, even though he was QB5 because he wasn't even on the roster at one point. And he made it all the way to QB2. So he should be happy when he's talking to Bucky. He's happy to see his family. He's happy to sign autographs. I'm happy because I made it to QB2 despite them trying to kick him out. Now, I already know Shedeur's done played in the rain before. Baylor balled out in the rain, right? I know that Shedeur is prepped and ready to go, despite if he doesn't have first team reps. We know that don't matter because he didn't have first team reps against the Panthers. And on X, people kept saying, oh, he only played against second and third team. I'm like, Shedeur actually played against first team defense with the Panthers. See, a lot of people didn't know that. They just assumed that he didn't play anybody, but they didn't realize he was being set up to fail by playing up higher talent, supposedly. But he came in and he did well. He exceeded expectations against first team defense. So it looks like the Browns are not willing to bench Dylan even if they lose. That they not even willing to let Quashawn Junkins rush the ball. And that Kevin Stefanski's job is not really at risk because this is what they planned for. A lot of people don't realize it. This is exactly what they planned for. They plan for Dylan to be the guy, and next year for them to get the guy. So he's the temporary guy. Shedeur was supposed to be their franchise QB, but they don't want that. Because why? They got Dylan because they didn't want to win this year. They have 2 first-round picks already. They have no reason to tank. Tanking to get a 3rd first-round pick is not going to help you in the long run if the head coach only wants a game manager. And you draft, whether it's Indiana's quarterback or Carson Beck from Miami, they both run, don't they? If you take a dual threat and you let Stefanski break them down to a pocket passer, which is probably what Baker Mayfield wanted out. If that's what you do, you're going to waste 3 first-round picks instead of 2. And look at Mason Graham is injured. First player they drafted. So you can't say we want to get our guy next year. We're going to be solid next year. We can go for a Super Bowl run next year with all of these injuries this year, because you're going to have all of these injuries next year, because you're not trying to win next year either. Your excuse is going to be we're rebuilding. Now, Shedeur can play in any environment. Actually, Shedeur is the quarterback they should have got as the franchise QB for $46 million. Why? Because he can take a terrible team like they were at 3-14 and develop his wide receivers, because they complaining and saying the wide receivers are trash. Now we got to go get some more wide receivers. Shedeur was the perfect quarterback for the Cleveland Browns that the Cleveland Browns don't want to win with because he's black. I have no problem with saying it. If he was white, he would have been drafted number 2 overall, because why? Then there would be 17 or 18 white starting quarterbacks instead of black ones. But because he's black, and the NFL seemingly tried to do everything to stop 17 black quarterbacks from being drafted, because we know we at 16. What they going to do to stop it next year? So what they do this year, they could actually win. They choose not to, because they say they want to use all their first-round draft picks and maybe get another one next year. But if Stefanski is the head coach, is it going to matter? Look at Stefanski's record. It's sub 500. So you're just going to get another first-round draft pick like you got Shedeur, and you're going to waste his talents rather than fire Stefanski. That's just what it is. And people just don't want to admit that. So when Troy Aikman came out and talked about Shedeur riding on the bench and Stefanski being problematic, notice people rushed in to deflect and blame Barry or blame the wide receivers or say Myles Garrett is not a leader. That's why Myles Garrett, defensive coordinator, spoke up and said he supports Myles Garrett speaking out. They're working overtime, putting effort and energy into drowning out the truth that Troy Aikman spoke and holding the Browns accountable, even if it's only Stefanski, rather than fixing the team so they can win. Last year, the Browns made $110 million off of gate receipts, tickets at the gate, coming to the games. They went 3-14. They made $85 million more in 2024 than they did in 2023. And they still went 3-14 and made $100 million at the gate. What are these fans showing up for? That's insane. You're giving these people $110 million whether they win or lose, but you mad because they're not trying to win. That's enabling. That's what enablement looks like. That's why the team is so bad. How are you mad now? This has been going on. Haslam got the team. When he got the team, it was worth $200 and maybe $30 million. Now it's $600 million. It's valued. No, that's how much they made. When he took over, they made $200 million. Now they making $600 million. They're gonna hit $770 million next year. Shout out to Charles Woodson and his 0.1% limited partnership. Shout out to him. Even though he has no voice unless they ask him something. It's still good, right? And it proves what? They wanted to prove that they're not racist in the same year that they were drafting Shedeur. How do I know this? Because they asked Charles Woodson about limited partnership in 2024. Rushed him through the process, but put him on ice until 2025. And that story came out right around after or right around before the draft. So it was in your mind. They're not racist, but he only has a 0.01% interest, where some limited partnerships start at 3%. So while they're setting it up to look like they're not racist, they still are being racist in the process of using Charles Woodson to say, I'm not being racist. Which tells you that when I said this plan to pigeonhole Shedeur to Cleveland Browns and devalue him was playing somewhere around the Vegas Super Bowl, I was right. The Super Bowl is somewhere between January or February. They rushed Charles Woodson through, had him to meet the Haslams in 2024 and put him on ice to 2025. They could have voted on it in March of 2024. But they were like, put a pin in it. They didn't have to think it over. They knew what they were going to do. That's why it doesn't matter what anybody says. They're not interested in firing Stefanski unless they want to push him off of an island and get the Mannings in there at GM. But to me, they're not hiring the Mannings for coach. They're hiring the Mannings to run the team. That's why you hear fire Andrew Berry. So it seems like Berry's job is the one that's actually more at stake, that they're trying to set you up to be okay with firing Berry, not Stefanski. Because they also put it out there in the atmosphere about the Mannings. Whether it's the front office or in 2027, Dillon Gabriel will relinquish his crown to the Manning kid. I mean, if they still want the Manning kid in 2027, am I really going to get a QB1 in 2026? The answer should be no, but maybe that's why you hear Dante Moore's name. Maybe that's why you hear the Mendoza's name from Indiana, because I have no real intentions with you either. I'm going to move you out the way. How can they go from wanting the Manning's kid, telling us that, has him going to run in there and get Peyton Manning to come run the team? Yeah. And then he going to get in 2027. Because honestly, you could just keep Dillon all that time. Right? Tell me I'm wrong. You wanted to get the Manning kid. It didn't work out. You keep Dillon to 2027 because you don't want Shedeur. So you keep Dillon to 2027. You're going to be mediocre till 2027. And you think the fans are going to forgive you because you got the Mannings on board. And Arch Manning is like promised to you, so to speak. So y'all going to sit here and 2024 going to be a bust. 2025, a bust. 2026, a bust. Because they're going to say they're rebuilding. With who? Dante Moore, a black quarterback, a black franchise quarterback that they didn't want in Shedeur. They want in Dante Moore. And now they want Mendoza. But before that, it was Lenore Sellers. You think it's the coincidence they keep trying to suggest that these black and brown quarterbacks should go to Cleveland? Number 1 overall when Haslam ran out there to Ohio State versus UT. It's the same play as Shedeur going to the Giants or Shedeur going to Cleveland. It wasn't going to never happen. Not for his good. Draft and destroy. That's what it is. So when Troy Aikman spoke up, it was facts. It was just all facts, right? It seems like Stefanski's MO is just to put Shedeur in a bad situation. Tomorrow is a bad situation. The weather's bad. A lot of the team may not be playing. Look at the injury report, is long, especially in comparison to Miami, which seems normal. Would surprise me if the game is rigged towards Stefanski if Dylan plays. But if Shedeur happens to show up and things go poorly, then it's just the Rams game all over again. Meaning he's behind the curve because the weather's bad. Because the injury report, a lot of the stars are injured. Of course, he can make anything happen, but I doubt the game plan that's really for Dylan supports Shedeur balling out in the rain with the stars being injured. I doubt it. Let me know your thoughts. So I'm going to check the comments. And yes, it still fires Stefanski. So yeah, Shedeur, we know he could ball out. Shedeur could ball out. Baylor will always be a game that can come to mind because it rained, right? Jackson State threw the same Hail Mary to Travis. So we know. But will the game plan support Shedeur being successful? I doubt it. The question is, does Stefanski now support Shedeur being successful? That's the better question. That's really the better question. That's really the better question. Claire says she excited for Shedeur. I'm like, yep, we all excited for. I'm excited that Bucky's there. I'm like, I think this is his first trip there. I'm happy his brother's up there. Somebody said his mom was there too. I didn't know if I don't know if I saw Miss Pilar. I know she goes to the game, so she might be because she probably gonna be at the game. The question is, I wonder if Shiloh gonna come back. So it would be nice if they all there, to be honest. If they all show up tomorrow, right? One of the things I said, they pick on people who are vulnerable, right? Coach Prime is busy. That's the only one they thinking about. He might be there. I mean, we don't know. I know he's somewhere fishing, but he might be there, right? But during the season when things were during the summer when Coach Prime was busy working or somewhere off and they didn't know, what was going on. It's like they were, aggressively trying to mentally break Shedeur, right? But now, you got his family coming out there. I think Sports Center is still sharing Shiloh's video, right? So it's like he got support, right? And they're less likely to openly try to break him when you have that kind of support around. So I'm happy the family is out there. Like I said, I hope the whole Sanders clan is out there. Every last one of them. Snow too. I hope they all there. To be honest, I think it would be great. This would be the game. It said Bucky there put out videos already. Yeah, I watched a little bit of it before I went live. I was thinking about sharing it, but I was like, well, I didn't know if I really want to share it or not. I figured I'd just tell you about it, and you probably saw it anyway. You probably saw it anyway. So thank you for that. It said Bucky is in Cleveland, visiting Shedeur and filming the game. So he is filming the game. Now that's huge. That's different. That's different. That's what I'm talking about. That's different. That's change. That's what I say. When you start seeing some change, that's change. That's change. So if he said that he's filming the game tomorrow, this is the first time that he's filming the Browns. Remember, they said Goodell told him that he could film, but it's on a team by team basis. And we've seen him film what? The Jaguars, the Panthers, now the Browns. That's progress. That could be progress. It could be progress. So again, I like it. I like it. Okay, I liked it. I saw him on the flight. I can say I saw a little bit of it. Okay, good. That makes my heart happy. Okay, so allowing Bucky to film, we're gonna see what comes of that. Good job. Hey, Selmo, how you doing? Selmo is a Browns fan. I know he's one of them in the chat. So we always like to hear from the Browns fans. It said, I'm hearing more people saying Barry should be fired and Tomlin. Yep. People still saying Tomlin should be fired, which is ridiculous. And Barry should be fired. Again, not trying to solve problems. Bucky released the video with Shedeur. Yep. And it says, Shedeur plays in the rain all the time in practices. Right. I think Shedeur actually can play in the rain. I think Shedeur can play in the rain. I think he can play with the second and third string because he already did. So the starters being injured is not an issue for Shedeur. It's where the Browns are thinking, okay, it's raining. Most of the stars are hurt. That ain't gonna work for Dylan. So let's just put in Shedeur. But Shedeur, exceptional athlete, plays in the rain. Just pointed that out, right? Can play with the twos and the threes because we don't even know if he had first team reps. Maybe, right? Maybe. And I mean, that's the thing. His ability to overcome and take a bad situation, even if they down, stay in the game, keep his team in the game, and win the game. We know that. Would the game plan be conducive for Shedeur? I mean, the Browns letting Bucky film is a move in the right direction. Is Kevin Stefanski ready to move in the right direction? Or are the Browns ready to move off of Stefanski for the same reason, in my opinion, that they moved off of Callahan with the Titans? People are now asking, are the Titans wasting Restrepo's talent? Because they had him on the practice squad. They let Cam bring Restrepo to the team as if they was going to work out, play together, because that's an asset, right? The chemistry. But they put him on a practice squad. Now they seemingly have him practicing and he might play in the game. So people are holding the Titans. The Titans are being held accountable. And they seem to be responding like people who want to win, who want to give the quarterback the best opportunity to win. That's how the Titans are responding. I don't care if they did it because the lawsuit popped on their desk. To us on the outside looking in, it looks like they want to win. So they made the changes to win. Can you say that about the Browns? The first change I see is Bucky is filming there. I'm like, okay, that's different. That's different. We'll see, right? So have it, maybe Coach Prime will pop up tomorrow. That would be nice. I think it would be nice if Coach Prime were out there. And he could be. Like I said, I don't know where he was fishing at. They got lakes over there, Lake Erie. So I like it. I'm happy to hear that. I'm very happy to hear that. So that's change in the positive direction. So somebody on one of their little podcasts in Cleveland said it's Haslam and Barry against Stefanski. Now, I would say that now Bucky can film. Haslam had to likely agree to that, or Barry had to agree to that. Somebody over there had to agree to it, right? Like they said, Goodell told him it's a team by team thing. And we know that Coach Prime business partner was working behind the scenes to get Bucky to film Carolinas and Jaguars. Now Cleveland. Okay. All right. We shall see. We shall see. So maybe Shedeur gets in this game. Maybe the pressure is too much. Maybe Boog did actually know something when he said he kept referring to Stefanski as Steph, even though I probably wouldn't do that. But what he also said is that something about let this play out, and maybe something about we'll see Stefanski, something about Stefanski will do something like do what he got to do or something like that. Maybe this is what they talking about. Maybe things are the corner. Maybe they are turning the corner. Maybe they ready. Maybe this was always a plan. Put in Shedeur at game 7 because it was supposed to be Flacco from 1 through 7, and then Shedeur get the back half of the game. Dillon was never supposed to be a factor. And when they benched Flacco, maybe that's when they lost Flacco and then lost him a little early than anticipated. The only thing that's coming out of that game is that they want to fire Mike Tomlin after the game. So, hell, I don't know. I don't really know. But I like what I see in Bucky being allowed to film. I think that's just like, okay. All right. I like it. Okay. It said, good evening, O.C. Tillman. Yeah, O.T. Tillman said, everyone, I'm hoping that Shedeur doesn't get a chance to play from Jackson, Mississippi. Let's go. You say he doesn't get a chance to play from Jackson, Mississippi. Let's go grown. Show these people what you can do. We know you are ready. I think everybody knows he's ready. I do. I believe everybody knows he's ready to play. We know he can ball out. The question is, now that we know Bucky can film, will the game plan be conducive to Shedeur's skill set? Because that's what it's supposed to be if he's the quarterback. Or will he be in there behind Dylan? Or even if he plays with Dylan's game plan, just in case Shedeur got to come out or whatever, they're going to tailor it to Dylan, and Shedeur just got to check down his way through. I don't think fans care if he checked down his way through. What Coach Prime telling Shedeur, don't be afraid of them check downs, everybody else using them. I think fans just want to see Shedeur play because they know he's good. They know he's good. And I can hear Barry and Haslam having a money conversation. I mean, we only got him for $4 million, so we might as well capitalize from Barry to Haslam. And he like, okay. But that would also mean that the NFL is done colluding against Shedeur. That's what that would mean. So we're going to see. We're going to see. I think this game, a lot of people going to watch this game because there is a lot at stake. It seems like two head coaches' careers are at stake. That's one. Two, to see who the quarterback is for Cleveland. If it's Shedeur and he defeats Tua, or Shedeur and Dylan and they defeat Tua, and how does Shedeur look versus Dylan, that kind of thing. So there's a lot at stake with this game, right? So we shall see. We shall see. But I do like the idea that Bucky is allowed to film there now. It said, yeah, I just seen the video too. It might be the game. What's that, Z? You say it might be the game that he's filming. Is that what you mean? Tomorrow? It said, I'm currently watching Utah and BYU because Colorado plays Utah next week. Who's winning? Let me know who's winning. It said, while I'm watching Texas and Kentucky overtime. Let us know who's winning. It said, I think Dink and Donk should play and not Shedeur. Okay, Nikki. So you don't think Shedeur should play. What's the reason? The game plan or Stefanski overall, the weather, etc. Let me know your thoughts. Willie said, no, Jamarcus was drinking lean and eating cheeseburgers. He admitted that he didn't take his craft seriously. Okay, good. Thank you. That helps my assessment of looking into him. Okay, it said Nussmeier is trash. There we go. Now, it's funny. All of the quarterbacks in the beginning, they're not talking about them no more. Hoover, Nussmeier, I guess Beck, even though nobody really talked about him anyway. They say Beck threw his whole team under the bus or something like that, or his O-line or something. W12. What is the W12, OC Tillman? Hey, Regina, how you doing? It said the QB play is trash. And truth be told, Shedeur is the last of a dying breed of a pure drop back pass QB. You say he's last of a dying breed, but the NFL is trying to get Josh Allen to be more of a pocket passer. The NFL is trying to get Lamar Jackson to be more of a pocket passer. They use the outdated retro style QB, which is what you just described, to negate Shedeur's salary. You're not worth $46 million because you're not one of the running around guys. Yes, he is. So they use his pocket passing skills to negate his draft stock. And Barry admitted to it on the day 3 post-draft press conference. That's why I keep playing it. But at the same time, and you can look it up right now, the NFL is trying to get Josh Allen, who y'all know they make all kind of excuses for, to be a pocket QB. Same thing for Lamar. So what they use to negate Shedeur, they're trying to force Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson to be it. And they love when Pat Mahomes run around and extends plays. People pointed out when Shedeur was scrambling in the back that nobody could catch him, and they didn't. Hey, Valerie, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? Terrence said, heck no, give Shedeur a healthy team to lead. I don't want him playing just because somehow, some way, it's going to be Shedeur's fault if they lose. Okay, I like it, Terrence. Thank you for that. Thank you. Okay. So Terrence say, no, give Shedeur a healthy team so the injuries matter. And again, we looked at the injury list, and again, we don't exactly know who's playing because a lot of people, they don't have, an assessment by it. They just, it doesn't say out. It doesn't say in. We just don't know. So that could be a little tricky. So I personally can understand Terrence's point of view. Give Shedeur a healthy team. Give Shedeur a healthy team. Give Shedeur a game plan tailored for Shedeur. The weather don't matter. I don't care if it rain or not because Baylor, right? That doesn't matter. But a team that's not healthy is a problem. And a game plan for a different quarterback that's not Shedeur. is a problem, especially if it's Dylan, because Dylan is a game manager. Yeah, Shedeur can go out here and ball out as a game manager. He can get it done as a game manager, but why restrict him that way? The fans want to see exciting football. Now, if it's raining, okay, check down, because you want to protect the ball. If Shedeur play, I think it should be Quinshon Junkins and Shedeur out there balling out on offense. I could see it. I don't think they want that though. It said Deion Jr. flew into Cleveland for this game. Yup. It said if they lose, Miami is an embarrassing fashion tomorrow. If they lose Miami, the Miami game in an embarrassing fashion tomorrow, I think Stefanski and Gabriel are out the door. Interesting. Okay. So you don't think it's just specific to Stefanski? You think they just gonna move on from Dylan and just use him as draft capital? Okay, I can see that. I can see it. Okay. I don't hear a lot of people talking about doing anything other than moving Dylan out the way, but I haven't heard much conversation about moving on from him. So that's good insight there, Willie. Thank you. It said, dang, everyone is out. Right. I mean, it's a lot of people that are out, right? So if you got all of these people injured, then who the hell is the quarterback? Like, and when I saw Tua on the list, I'm like, is Tua playing? If Tua not playing, I'm gonna say it's rigged. I'm sorry. I'm gonna just say it's rigged if Tua is not playing. And I have this much belief that the NFL will rig this game. I sure would. Just like the Giants in Philadelphia. Argue with somebody else, because you're gonna see. It said, the injury reserve list is long as hell. That's what we saying. If Shedeur's playing, he ain't got no team, but he already used to playing with the 2s and 3s anyway. It says Shedeur playing. We haven't heard yet. And I checked to see if Bailey Zapp was activated. I don't believe so. So it's already Saturday. Somebody else want to Google it? I Googled it last night. Somebody can Google it and see if it changed. Maybe they quietly activated Bailey Zapp, but I figured we were here by now. Because, the people in Cleveland would, oh my God, Bailey, they would use it to talk in, nonstop about this. So here's the thing. No quarterback activated from the practice squad, meaning Bailey Zapp. And it's only Shedeur and Dylan. And Bucket is filming. And the fans that we can hear, the ones that spent the $110 million to go to the games, they do matter. So I'm sure somebody over there that spent, those tickets are average. You could get tickets $5,000 for one person, $10,000 for two. So the people in the 10,000 section, I'm pretty sure if they got something to say, they gonna listen. And they probably like, look, I don't care what you do, but you just need to win. Because that's what they would say. I'm not gonna tell you who the quarterback would be, but you're gonna need to win because I'm not buying no more of these tickets. So and if you're gonna drop that kind of money, chances are you got it and you feel like you got something to say too. So they're gonna listen to those people. But yeah, the deck is stacked against regardless of who the quarterback is. But it's even more stacked if it's Shedeur because the game plan is for Dylan. And that just means Shedeur going to have to adapt and play check down ball and be a game manager. And I think the fans will be happy with that because we just want to see Shedeur. I mean, we could argue, it's 10 games left. We could argue down the line about the game plan. But I think the goal is for Shedeur to play. And if it's raining, might be for the best. And look how many O-linemen are on the list. See, that right there. I'm like, oh, you damn O-linemen hurt. And when they healthy, they're not good. And now they hurt. I'm like, so that means the second string O-line or the third string, and there's no third string O-line. The second string O-line is potentially playing in a game where it's going to rain. And Bailey Zapp has not been activated. Somebody about to be set up. I don't know who it is, but it could be Shedeur. I'm like, because that game plan is not for Shedeur. Unless Kevin Stefanski is crazy enough to call deep ball passes in the rain. Hoping it don't work. I don't know. But we're going to see. We're going to see. Question is, who's watching the game? Is anybody deciding to lift the moratorium on the boycott and go ahead and watch the game tomorrow just in case Shedeur get in because Bucky in town and maybe these people coming to their senses or the NFL is tired of colluding against Shedeur? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious. I'm trying to figure out if I want to watch it and maybe live stream it. We didn't have Colorado this week, so maybe we live stream. I got to see if I even have that game. What network is it on? Is it ESPN or is it like Fox or Prime? Or because they all over the place this year. Let me know if what network it's on. If it's ESPN, I might be able to see it. Because I have Sling and I think they have Fox and ESPN. Hey, Blind Beauty, welcome back. It said, please say no, although I want to see him play. It's there, but not on this team, man. Yeah. It said they definitely will say it's Shedeur's fault if they lose. Yeah, and use it against him, just like the Rams game. And that is why, if you ask me, the What She Said Sports community, we said overwhelmingly no. I went back and checked the results today. It's still no. We don't want Shedeur to play with Stefanski as the head coach because we don't trust it. We don't trust it. When Troy Aikman made these comments, he don't trust Stefanski either. He just didn't say it. When a former star quarterback comes out and says these things about a head coach, and we see for ourselves how Shedeur is being treated, and everybody has called out Stefanski's behavior, discrimination against Shedeur, trying to humiliate him intentionally. They know exactly what's going on. He cleaned up what he said before it was said. So it tells you it's a lot being said behind the scenes. Bucky must know something. He might, because Boog did say something about people gonna see why Stefanski do something. If somebody go back to Boog page and look it up, he did say something like that. So now that Bucky's on the ground, that's a change, right? That's a change. That's a change. That's the change you're looking for. Because if they were against him filming before, but they're okay now, and then Boog is like, let this play out because something about you're gonna see why Stefanski did something. And I did hear there were supposed to be changes to the offense. So that would mean that Haslam had to sit down and talk to Stefanski and like, look, I want to keep you now. So in order for me to keep you, you're going to have to, I want to keep you to the Mannings come. So yeah, actually Stefanski and Dylan are both on the, sitting in the Mannings seats. I'm like, they both are. And you're like, I want to keep you to the Mannings come now. So I'm going to need you to make this work because, people with the $10,000 tickets got something to say. Something, paraphrasing, something like that though. But yeah, that's how these things go. This is the reason why certain people complain, because people listen. The squeaky wheel always gets the grease, right? So let me see what else y'all saying. Love the run me my money sweater. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Amber said, "Oh goodness, yeah." It said, "I'm scared for Shedeur to play." Nah, Shedeur's a dog. Shedeur, man. Shedeur is I don't know how the NFL is going to CYA, right? When Shedeur does play. And I was thinking to myself, I think yesterday, I said, if the NFL tired of colluding against Shedeur, because it ain't no way out. There's no way out. And you already got the best of him because his contract is only $4 million. And I said it, they could put him out here and let him ball out for $4 million instead of 46. And it will make no sense to continue colluding, because if you keep holding him back, more and more people are going to start questioning what's really going on. And I think after Troy Aikman said what he said, and they value Troy Aikman, right? And you ain't hear Jerry Jones say nothing about what Troy Aikman said. Maybe they ready to stop colluding, because it's only going to make things worse. Honestly, there's no excuse for taking him off the board because you said he was entitled. You can't do that even if you thought that. You shouldn't have just invited him to the draft. But it's documented that the NFL didn't want him before the draft. So it looks like the NFL invited him to the draft to humiliate him because he called his own plays at Colorado. That's part of it. Then that's 17-32. That wasn't going to never happen no way, right? If I went and got Charles Woodson and only gave him 0.01% for his $5 million, and not the 3% or the 1% or the 2% that people get based on the $5 billion valuation, I'm discriminating against him too. I'm essentially bringing in somebody who's black, just like Andrew Berry. People see it and they think I'm not racist. And that's how you know they are. Because look at how Andrew Berry is treated, like a go fetch with a Harvard degree. So they demeaning him every day. It's not a coincidence they calling for him to be fired. It's not a coincidence they calling for Mike Tomlin to be fired. Is it a coincidence that Flacco landed as QB1 in time to play against Pittsburgh? Or was this the expected narrative? We already said earlier before the season started, they was looking for a way to push out Mike Tomlin. But it's going to be hard because he never had a losing season. Not a coincidence is blame the black guy, blame Andrew Berry, blame Mike Tomlin. Not a coincidence. So it said he is going to be working the game. Yes, I heard it and I'm happy. It said, yes, Bucky said he's filming. I'm good. That says a lot. That says a lot because it didn't look good that he could film. I'm over here discriminating against Shedeur. Bucky can't film, but Bucky can go film the Jaguars. Bucky can't go film the Carolina Panthers. It just was, it just looked like they had something against the Sanders, and the Sanders didn't do nothing to them. Maybe they didn't want Bucky to come see how Shedeur was being treated. I told you they don't like people filming because people pick up on things. Look at what we picked up on with that girl running up to Shedeur, talking about, oh, there you go. You know, I got to make sure you stay out of trouble. Excuse me? That wasn't good. Because here's the thing. If they have somebody following him around on the clock to make sure he stays out of trouble, do they have somebody following him around off the clock to make sure that he stays out of trouble? Look at how berserk Skip Bayless went when Travis used his off the clock time to get baptized early Sunday morning. Your time is not really your time, is it? That's why I'm glad he has a driver. I'm glad he's not by himself. I'm glad his whole family's there. And I think they all need to show up and let him know. You ain't got to say a word. Just show up as a family. You can't pick on him. He has people that love him because they treated him like he didn't. That there would be no backlash, that there would be no consequences because they thought they only had to deal with Coach Prime and they thought they had him over a barrel because he's the head coach of the Colorado Buffs that got players that got to be drafted for the next 5 years. They forgot about the rest of his family. They didn't even consider his mother. So I'm glad Bucky's filming. It said Bucky doesn't move for nothing. So I believe something's up. Yep. It said Dylan is supposed to have more freedom in playing on tomorrow. Okay, so when they say they're going to open up the offense or change the offense, Dylan is going to have more freedom tomorrow, and probably Quinshon Judkins is going to run the ball. Okay, we'll look for that. Thank you, Valsy. It said, and they had enough of Stefanski and ABS. They should, but guess what they realizing? Guess what they realizing? That Haslam is laughing all the way to the bank. I'm like, finally, a Browns fan gets it. So they put out this list. I'm going to share it with y'all. They put out this list today. They ranked the NFL teams by the owners, the richest owners. So it wasn't about if your team is good or bad. Who has the richest owners? Believe it or not, the first row was like Denver and some other people. The Browns was on the second row. That's because the Browns, even though being a losing franchise, now has a $6 billion valuation. Jimmy Haslam has taken the Jerry Jones masterclass and I'm not giving a damn about winning. Just sell them season tickets. They realizing it. The ones that's complaining are the ones that are responsible for $110 million in ticket sales. And how much did Haslam give to his fans? And I just want to point out something real fast. You know that $110 million that they make at the gate? That's what's going to pay the $100 million to the city of Cleveland to leave. and they still gonna have 10 million left over. You would think Cleveland was 14-3 last year. No, they were 3-14. Maybe they'd have called me from this season tickets and wouldn't have got nobody because you don't even have nothing. Not only did they lose 3-14 last year, the people who were quarterbacks last year, not even quarterbacks this year, and there was a list going around at how much money the Browns still owe former quarterbacks that used to play for them. And people mad about Deshaun Watson. They ain't have no choice in that. They did not have no choice in that. They decided to do that, and that's how they got a stadium. There's a meme where Haslam sitting in his seat laughing back, like a fat cat. I'm like, yeah, because y'all done made the man rich, win or lose. It ain't supposed to go like that. If you just show up because, win or lose, you don't have no leverage. They gave their leverage away. And they thought it was a compliment to say that, oh, they got a loyal fan base. That ain't the word they're using when they're not listening. I told you they better ask the Dallas Cowboys fans, how much have the Dallas Cowboys won since they opened the Star? You think they ain't care about winning right now? Yup. They're going to care about when you're going to book your dinner reservations and all these other things. Everything else is going to be the priority. All they doing is using Andrew Berry to devalue players, to get them for cheap, to keep bodies on the field so you'll show up. They forgot about the winning part. They just keeping bodies on the field so you'll watch it on TV and you'll show up and pay. You have given them your time. You have given them your money. And you have gotten nothing but frustration in return. Quit paying. Like the church say, find something else to do. Bucky said he's recording the game. It's in a recent video. Okay. So I'm assuming he'll be in the NFL capacity on the field when y'all say that. Hey, Marlon, how you doing? It said the fans and players and coaches are tired of Stefanski. They should be. They should be. I mean, honestly, they should be, right? I mean, it's like they talk about Stefanski as if this is his first year being bad. Why they keep ignoring last year? 3-14 last year. This is exactly what got Callahan fired. Callahan had the same record as Stefanski. The Titans was essentially telling the Browns what to do. And they don't want to do it. Okay. Instead, I wish Shiloh was there in Cleveland. He might be because he was at the game last week. So, and it's good content for him. And hell, Sports Center sharing his content. All of these sports-related networks are sharing Shiloh's content. I'm like, that's just crazy. It said the players are faking injuries to get Stefanski fired. It was said that the players found out that the Browns themselves, the team, organization, front office wanted to tank this year to get the Manning kid. So they saying the players are like, screw it. So you see the mess they done started? Now you don't know. You just don't know. And hell, if they could fake, I ain't convinced. Never mind. I ain't gonna say that. Weather didn't deter Shedeur in Florida when he was blowing dimes. And you not lying. The UCF game. Ooh, that's another game in the rain. I forgot it was raining when that game started, right? So you got Baylor and UCF. Yeah, the elements are not an issue for Shedeur. I don't. He done played in the cold. I don't know if it was snowing up there ever. I know it's cold up there. Then you got Jackson State over here in the heat. So yeah, that's why I said Shedeur was the perfect quarterback for the Browns situation. Meaning they had a 3-14 season. You want somebody to come in and turn around, but that's what happens when you want to win. The Browns fans are just now starting to realize, hold up, y'all not trying to win. I'm like, no, I can see that all the way over here from Atlanta, and so could a lot of other people. And why did you think they were? I mean, has there not been enough? I said they was busy. That's why they didn't know. Because, sometimes you could be so busy, you don't know somebody cheating on you in your face. It happens, right? We be busy. We don't know. So I feel like they truly was busy and they ain't really know. Like they don't really they happy to support the team. And they just talk to each other and it's, oh girl, they trying to get it together. Leslie's going out there to the tailgate and support them. They don't really know what's going on. That's what I said. Because I don't know how you gift these people $110 million for 3 and 14. I mean, I just don't understand that. Like, and then this year you're trying to run it back. And this is why they keep growing at the rate of almost approximately $85 million per year. This is why they don't care. This is why Stefanski works there. They never expected him to win. He's not a good coach. He's not a good coach. So finally, it seems that the Browns fans are starting to wake up with, these people not trying to win. No, I don't even know when they were ever trying to win, to be honest. I don't think when they rotated 5 quarterbacks, they were trying to win. You don't even have a quarterback if you rotated, 6. They rotated 6 quarterbacks in 2023. They went 3-14 the year after that. And the quarterbacks that were on the roster in 2023, 2024, Deshaun is it, I think. And insurance is paying his salary, so they ain't worried about Deshaun. Y'all worried about Deshaun getting paid $230 million. And I'm talking about the Browns fans. But did the Browns fans know the insurance company picked up the tab? Not the Browns. For this year. Well, yeah, for this year. Who knows what's going to happen next year? People say he's going to get traded. I'm like, all right, well, we're going to see. We're going to see. All I know is they about freaked out when he said he was taking Shedeur under his wing. And they know why. And he do too. All right, so it says right here, it says How to Be a Good NFL QB, Volume 1. It says Chapter 1, Leave Cleveland, the end. So that's what I think. I think when it comes to Shedeur, if the NFL is finished colluding against him, because it ain't going to get no better if they don't, Shedeur came through the door with 4 million fans who are going to talk about this until they do right by Shedeur. So it will behoove the NFL to stop playing with Shedeur Sanders because the fans not letting up. And you can't ignore 4 million fans because Shedeur has more fans. Shedeur's 4 million fans can fill up the capacity of 42 NFL stadiums. There are only 32 NFL stadiums. You can't ignore that many people. And he's gotten more fans since he got to the NFL, which is why people say he has 6 million fans. The old tactics of discriminating against these black quarterbacks not going to work because fans' voices can be heard. They don't want that, but they can't stop it. So it makes sense to just move on instead of keep making things worse. Because now you got people talking about Jamarcus Russell, and that's starting a new conversation. Well, wait a minute. If this is what you're doing to Shedeur, let's go look at what happened with Jamarcus Russell. We already are starting to hear from former professional athletes talk about how they were discriminated against. A basketball player, Amari Stoudemire, how the coach tried to prevent him from transferring out of his high school, took his transcripts and turned them into D's and F's so that, one, the new school wouldn't accept him, and as retaliation for him leaving and being successful and moving away to a new school, he had to work those grades up. They made his life harder for him to play basketball in retaliation because he wanted to leave. That's what these podcasts are for. Not to send people like Skip to push the NFL narrative against Travis and Shedeur. Be careful, people. Keep speaking your truth. That's what it's for us to hear, whether it was Johnny Manziel and the other guy, even though, in my opinion, they both were trying to get the hell out of Cleveland or trying to cope in Cleveland. It was for different reasons. And now you got Odell Beckham Jr. speaking out. Maybe that's why the Titans went ahead and fired Callahan, because Callahan was doing the same thing to Cam that's happening to Shedeur. You just don't know about it. And in retaliation, is that why Calvin Ridley, Cam's best target, is on the chopping block? It's a lot that these athletes have had to endure to play the sports of their dreams. It's not just the NFL. It's not just college. It happens to these athletes. They get discriminated against in high school. Go watch Colin Kaepernick's story from what happened to him in high school or at camp. a football camp. Their lives get made harder. So yeah, I see Stefanski using the rain, the wind, and an injured team to put Shedeur out there with a game plan for Dylan to make it harder for Shedeur. But I also can see Shedeur overcoming all of it because he's that good. So we'll see. So basically, that's what they're saying. How to be a good NFL QB, Volume 1, Chapter 1, Leave Cleveland, the end. That tells you it's more about Stefanski than it is about Andrew Berry. People mad at Andrew Berry. I'm like, if people can run around and call out Stefanski that played the game or that can see with their own two eyes that are not Browns fans, that are objective third parties, that are like, what is going on over here? Why is it that their quarterbacks are not good there, but they leave and go be good elsewhere? Shedeur is no different. The NFL would have to restrict Shedeur from playing anywhere else because if he go to another team and get on that field, he going to be just like Baker Mayfield. He going to be just like Flacco. Understand that. So they have to think about that too. So it'll be interesting to see who plays under such terrible conditions with injuries in the weather and a poor game manager game plan. So I was saying shout out to Charles Woodson for his return on investment for his 0.1% stake. It was saying that the Browns fans, they said, y'all have $685 million worth of explaining to do. Browns revenue year over year. How much did the fans get from the Browns? Y'all lost time and money. You can see right here, going from 2012 when Haslam brought the team, $264 million in revenue. Then it jumps up to 2014 to $313 million, 2017, $375. You can just do the math and count the growth, $375 to $5 million. Now, this is the pandemic, so I'm thinking they must have got one hell of a PPP loan because they went from $375 million to $510 million during the pandemic. And then it went from $375 to $510, $510 to $545, $605 to $685. And if you do the math right there, you're going to be at $765 or $770 because y'all just keep showing up. Yeah, this is public information. And y'all are contributing to making this man wealthy, but you're not holding him accountable, but you're not getting nothing in return. And this is on Chat GPT. You can look this up. You can look this up in any browser. With an average of $90 million in operating expenses. How much did the Browns share with their fans? That pumped up $110 million for losing seasons. They just laughing all the way to the bank. All the way to the bank. And this is not normal. Even the Titans fans are holding the Titans accountable, and they did something about it. So what's really going on in Cleveland that the fans keep shelling out this kind of money in a town that a city town or whatever that's supposed to be blue collar, and the team not even winning, and they underpaying players, that devaluing players, getting players on the cheap because they just put bodies on the field. They said Joe Flacco operation of the offense in the Bengals should be eye-opening to Joe Burrows. I said right. People overlook the fact that Flacco looks so good. What's up with Joe Burrow? You heard they never said it. Nobody ever talked about it. But that was the first thing I thought. It wasn't just about making Cleveland look bad. Indirectly, it made you wonder about Joe Burrow. But they're not going to talk about that. They're not going to talk about that. People are saying you're more worried about your stadium than you are your football team. I mean, well, look at the money y'all been shelling out, right? They get a $450 million check from the NFL. Every team gets a $450 million check. Every team. Then there's, revenue of $90 million just from operations. They have, expenses too, right? But the money they get to keep. And they're not winning. Why should I win if you just gonna keep showing up? I mean, why buy the cow when you can get the milk for free? I mean, what's the point, right? It said Browns went 3-14 in 2022. Also in 2024, the Browns received $432 million from the NFL. A check each owner gets plus $90 million in operating expenses, plus Gates receipts of $110 million. I say y'all crazy. Hashtag Browns. Y'all crazy. That's crazy, bro. I don't know how you take pride in that. That's ridiculous. And they not even good. It said Brown season tickets for two people are approximately $10,000. It said, I know y'all lying. It said, what have y'all been paying for all this time? Did the Browns owner share his money with y'all? Hashtag dog pound. Hashtag Shedeur Sanders. So this was what the list was that they put out. NFL teams ranked by how rich the owners are. Do y'all think these fan bases are taking pride in these owners being rich? Oh, my team owner rich, richer than yours. Is that what's going on here? The Broncos is first. Okay, they're on the third row. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5, 10, 15. Out of 32 teams, here the Browns. And they horrible. And we asked, how they get a stadium? And they didn't win nothing in the same year that the Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl and they getting a new stadium. You see? This is insane. The Steelers are way down here. Y'all worried about Mike Tomlin. The Steelers should have definitely drafted Shedeur. You see? This is why the Browns not trying to win nothing. Because they looking at the bottom line. They not looking at competition. They don't care about nobody. They just like, look here. Just keep somebody's out there on the field so they could keep watching and they could keep paying to show up. That's it. That's it. That is it. So, you know, I blame the fans. Selmo, if you in here, I blame you too. Y'all have enabled these people. Y'all have enabled these people to the point that they are filthy, stinking rich, win or lose. It's not supposed to be like that. It's not supposed to be like that. You're supposed to have some leverage to hold a team accountable. You have no leverage. You've given it all away. And they not going to hurt one red cent for paying the city of Cleveland $100 million because y'all going to give them $110 million at the gate. So they getting away for free with a $10 million extra in the pocket. So y'all paying for them to leave. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. So there you go. Hey Z, how you doing? Yup, at the gates. At the gates. That's it. That's it. That's it. It said I'll be back at the sports cafe at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Okay, Mac, did you go last week? Did Mac show up last week? Is he still in the comments? Browns is wild. Yup. 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 It said all those professional ball players' eyes will definitely be on this game and they will call out everything. Yeah, that's true too. It said she was confident in her pulling up stuff. I mean, yeah, it's out there. It said, did anyone find out who that girl was that ran up to him out of nowhere in front of Shedeur's own mother? Nope, but I know she worked there. I know she worked there, and I know she messed up with that one. I know she messed up with that one. Jimmy Haslam owns all those Pilot and Flying J's truck stops. Yeah, that was his father's business. So he inherited his father's business. If y'all travel, when you see the truck stop Flying J's, and I think he sold, I don't know if he sold the majority stake or he sold a good bit of it to Berkshire Hathaway. So that's where he get the billions from to buy the team. And again, taking it from 234 million up to 600 million in revenue. Now, that's just revenue. Since 2012, that's a lot of revenue for a losing team. That's a lot of revenue. The valuation, 14th highest in the league. That's why they don't care. Y'all ain't giving no reason to care. You keep showing up. That's why the church was like, I know y'all got something else y'all could be doing. Just go to church. Do something, anything. Anything. But if you over there struggling to pay for anything and you going to these games, you going to hear my voice tomorrow in the back of your mind asking, oh, y'all crazy. Y'all crazy because this is not that team. I can see if they were like one of these legacy teams that always wins. I've said this before. Haslam wants to be like Jerry Jones, right? A lot of the teams want to get the star. Haslam actually got one. He got a star. He got a new stadium, and they're not even good. They're not even good, and he's using his money. That's why he's okay with paying $100 million to lead the city of Cleveland, because the fans paying for it. That's why they don't care. Y'all ain't give them no reason to. It said the Haslam owned a power company. It said they feed parts of New York. It said they turn trash into power. Mm-hmm. Interesting. Very interesting. I don't think I read about that. I read about the I don't doubt it. I read about the truck stops because that was his father's business. Yeah. It said they are not on TV unless they play a popular team or have Shedeur starting. Oh, really? Yeah, I heard they don't have no what do you call that when they say you have the premier games? Is it the Sunday night football, the Monday night football? They didn't have any premier games. They came on at 1 o'clock. So that means you're not really all that. But they still got a check for $432 million. So and that's the money that they split. Supposedly when Kaepernick took a knee in 2015, it was 250 million. That's why these games are on all of these different networks because it enriches them. And if they just putting bodies out there for something to watch, they don't care. They just really don't. They don't. It said they can't. So I mean that's just what it is. It said his brother Bill was the governor of Tennessee. Both Cleveland and the Titans building stadiums. Wow, that's true. The Titans are getting a new stadium, and the Philadelphia Eagles getting. I know why they getting a stadium, but yeah, wow. Okay, I wonder why he didn't buy into the Titans. I don't know anything. I don't never hear anything about the Titans ownership. I know they made a move though. I know they made a move that shocked a lot of people by firing Callahan. I'm glad they did though, right? Because the way Cam was being treated, it was the same thing as Shedeur, right? The point is we don't want you. And they were treating him like we don't want you. But see, Tennessee has a history of this, right? Vince Young, hell, what was his name? Steve McNair, same thing. How do you almost win a Super Bowl and they dismantle the team next year? It said he could come here to Philly and I will buy tickets for the family. Really? Well, Jalen Hurts over there. So no, Shedeur is a premier franchise QB that should be starting. And he was blocked by a lot of teams. He was blocked by all of them, first of all. But they physically put human beings in these spots so they could justify, oh, I don't need a quarterback. That's all that movement you saw in free agency. That's what that was about. And look at how it's not working out. Now they're saying, oh, Geno Smith is trash. But you booted him out of Seattle to take him to the Raiders. But now he could go. Which means they gave him a contract he probably it's never gonna materialize. And he still hadn't hit 100 million because the same thing they're doing to Geno is what they want to do to Shedeur. I feel like they're gonna have to stop playing. They're gonna have to stop not playing, but colluding against Shedeur. I'm starting to more strongly get this because there's a lot of factors happening here, right? People know that Brian Flores' lawsuit is still moving through the courts and the NFL lost its appeal. I don't think they want to talk about that in public because it does point back to Cleveland. It said they are not getting to play. They are not getting to play with us. What does that mean? It said the past 6 years, Kevin Stefanski has been saying the same thing. It's all on me. Oh, is that what he says? Is that his mantra? It's all on me? Yeah, that's just crazy. That's just crazy. Said Browns fans going to be faithful regardless. Been for decades. It must not be nothing else to do. That's insane. That's crazy. Well, I mean, you can't complain then, right? You can't complain if you enable the toxicity. If you happy to have the Callahans and the Grudens, and you don't want the Brian Flores's or Deion Sanders or whomever, right? So this is what the organization is built on: toxicity. It is built and designed for that, right? Whereas Andrew Berry is used for his melanin, right? But how you gonna get mad if they not serious about winning the game because you keep showing up? You have given all of your leverage away. And I'm hoping that he must be kicking them down some money because otherwise, why are y'all choosing to enrich him? So that's it for me, guys. 200 of us made it tonight. Thank you so much. It's Saturday night. We'll be back tomorrow. I don't think I'm gonna go live during the game because then I'm gonna have to be committed during the game and it might be trash. So maybe if it goes well, I'll pop up and go live. I'll do it that way. That's the smart way to do it. If things go well and I'm not occupied doing something else, I might go live if Shedeur gets in. But I think the change that they made, it just might involve Dylan. I don't know. We're gonna see. All right, everybody. I'm gonna get myself out of here. This was awesome. Do not forget to head over to whatshesaidsports.com and check out the latest drop for the Run Me My Money hoodie, right? Run Me My Money with the 12 on the front. Y'all know what time it is because I feel like if Deshaun Watson got $230 million after he asked for a trade, Shedeur Sanders should be at half a bill. So run him his money and we just gonna celebrate the young man, and our love for his game. That's it. So use my code NOLA Girl, all caps NOLAGIRL at checkout. All right, so that's it. That's how that goes. So I'll see y'all tomorrow night, 10:35, unless it's a pop-up if Shedeur get in the game. If you're watching it, let me know in the comments, and I'll look for you tomorrow. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much. Thanks for watching What She Said Sports. Yay. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Be sure to join our daily live stream and listen up to What She Said Sports on the go on Spotify. Thank you for watching What She Said Sports. Stay for another video.